All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers have dropped five out of their last six, and in the process, they've begun to slide in the standings as they're now fifth in the Eastern Conference. However, in spite of this slump, the Sixers should be able to rebound at some point of the season in order to be a postseason team. But the bigger issue for the 76ers right now, of course, is the knee injury for All-Star center Joel Embiid. Now, last month, Embiid did miss 2 games because of knee soreness, and he would further injure that knee on the 30th of January against the Golden State Warriors when Jonathan Kuminga fell on that leg. Now, since then, Embiid has been out with an MCL injury, and as of right now, we really don't know when the big fella is going to return. And without the big fella out there, uh, the 76ers NBA championship hopes are really in line because they really don't have anything, to prop them up as far as being a championship team without a healthy and dominant Joel Embiid. Now, Embiid is the reigning NBA MVP, and of course, with this prolonged stretch on like injured and it looks like it's going to be longer, he more than likely he's not going to repeat his NBA MVP. Of course, with the new 65 game requirement. But even with this said, you're still talking about a guy that has a lengthy uh, injury history throughout his NBA career, and Embiid has never had a season, unfortunately, where he's even been able to play in 70 regular season games. Now, I know that the incident with Kaminga was a freak accident, but the bulk of Embiid's injuries throughout his NBA career, they've been lower body injuries. And with Embiid set to turn 30 years of age next month, in my opinion, it would not hurt the big fella to think about, dropping some weight as he's set to enter the next stage of his career. On the other side of 30 as an athlete, things get, especially as a professional athlete, I don't know personally from that standpoint, but, it's tougher to keep up with the Joneses. And, Embiid is stated as being 280 pounds. What if he brought it down just to 265 or 260? To take some additional stress, off of his joints. That's something that, in my opinion, could help him going towards the next stage of his career. But at the end of the day, you cannot help your team when you're in street clothes and you're on the trainer's table. And you know what? We know what Embiid can do when he's healthy because at the center position, there's nobody that can stop him. And I think the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you look at what Embiid was doing this season alone, just prior to the injury. You're talking about a guy that was averaging over 36 points this past month, which included getting 70 against the San Antonio Spurs on the 22nd. For the month of December, Embiid averaged more than 40 points per game, and he had that crazy stretch of a 30-point contest, and it was looking like he was going to be the MVP again. He led the league in scoring in each of the last 2 years. He was well on his way to leading the league in scoring again, as he was averaging more than 35 points this season, more than 11 rebounds, nearly 6 assists, and nearly 2 blocks. And that's hard to replace for any lineup. Okay. You look at it and what he brings to the table and what he means to the 76ers. The 76ers, like I said before, they need a healthy Embiid if they're going to be a championship team. And that's going to be very tough right now because we don't know how long that Embiid is going to be out right now. And B, when he comes back, how effective is he going to be? Now we know that the Sixers are going to approach his rehab and his return to the lineup with kid gloves. And I understand that and I respect that. But again, like I said before, how effective is he going to be when he comes back? And how trustworthy of his body is he going to be when he returns to action as well? Now, for Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green, was he right to call out the NBA's 65 game requirement for awards as a factor with Embiid getting injured? And he's saying that Joel Embiid was out there, when he really shouldn't have been playing. It's one of those where if you're hurt, regardless, if you're hurt, you need to, like you don't need to be out there. And that part of it, I totally understand. It's unfortunate that it got to this point that the NBA had to, put this 65 game threshold in there, to say the least. I explained this, my thoughts on this a couple of days ago about it. And like I said, you have to blame the guys, front offices, and players alike for what led to this decision by the NBA. But I'll tell you like this: I just think, in my opinion, the Kaminga collision with Joel Embiid was just one of those freak accidents, and it says bad knee or not. I think it kind of opened things up as far as him, just being injured on that specific play. But the way that Joel Embiid was not already in the lineup of the previous games for the 76ers, it's just one of those things where he was probably going to have to labor through things for a portion of the season until he got to the All-Star break. But nonetheless, I think this injury just sent it over the cliff, to say the least. But for the 76ers, they've got to try to find a way to band together and get through this. And I mean, we've already seen what Tyrese Maxey has been doing this season, but now, Kelly Oubre, okay, Tobias Harris, these guys are going to have to step up because, somebody is, I mean, you can't replace Joel Embiid and what he brings to the table at the end of the day. But now, guys got to step up. Nick Nurse has his system in place. And, the Sixers still have a very talented team. I think the initial shock of this has been difficult for them to deal with. We've seen it, in the wins and losses in their recent games. But I think the Sixers are talented enough to rebound and still be a top five team in the Eastern Conference. I don't think that they're going to push for the top spot anymore. Clearly, that has changed, but they still have a lot of talent on this team. And of course, they're still optimistic that Embiid could come back and return, maybe at some point during the regular season, hopefully by the playoffs. Again, but I still think it comes down to how effective that Embiid is going to be and how trustworthy that he is going to be of his body. So you look at the 76ers, and like I said, it's been a tough stretch and it could get tougher. They host the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow night. They then host the Golden State Warriors on Wednesday, and then they host the Atlanta Hawks on Friday before going on a two-game road trip. So it's time for the 76ers to band together. And the other thing about it is this: if you're the 76ers, uh, given Embiid's injury history throughout his career, how much more can you expect of Embiid at this top level before his body really begins to break down? Because this young man is in the prime of his career. But at some point, you're not hoping for it, of course. You're just being realistic about it, that other shoe could drop as far as things go with his body. So at the end of the day, it's just tough. It's just tough, that he's in this situation once again. As good as Joel Embiid has been throughout his NBA career, we've gotten a lot of good and big flashes. But again, like I said, we're talking about a guy that unfortunately has never played in 70 regular season games in a season due to injuries. We know what he can do when he's on top of his game. He's the reigning MVP. More than likely, clearly, he's not going to be the MVP uh, this year. But nonetheless, this is a tough blow for him and a tough blow for the 76ers to their title aspirations. But at the end of the day, without him, let's see how the 76ers respond, and let's see if Embiid can come back at some point this season and have the impact on the 76ers that they need, as they still have hope of winning an NBA championship. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.